Hello, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. It says we are live, and we are. Man, I tell you what, music is a powerful, powerful force. Listening to Rod Stewart, every picture tells a story. God, I got some great memories of that. That's what it's all about, folks. I think it's all about, the experience. Each individual has their own, and
Listening to Rod
rewrite
Stewart.
our own story. So welcome everybody. Boy, hello, Robert V and Lynn, Blanca. Good to see you. Al, how are you doing, my friend? Burning Ego. Hello, John and Peter. Uh, just invoking great favor upon us all. We're all travelers. At least the vast majority of us are. Um, it's a great line that Robert Plant wrote in Kashmir. You know, I'm both a traveler of time and space. And I think that's what we're doing. We're studying a lot, and let me tell you why most of the world thinks it's this. But I contend that in my library, as I peruse it and I go back and I reread, it's really more this. It's the omniverse, ladies and gentlemen. We are experiencing a thing called time, space. We're experiencing a thing called matter. It's not about worshiping God or gods. Again, the simple question becomes for each and every one of us, what is a God? Is it human? Is it alien? Someone said, well, it's spirit. All right. So if it's spirit, is spirit a separate classification or is it a catch all for all? And if it's the highest form of intelligence that exists, why would it want something to worship it? Particularly if it's something that would be considered lower or equal. And I think it really comes down to, there's some great books out there. Jürgen Zawi is one. If you never read The Multidimensional Man, check it out. Really good. And Dr. Newton's book, Journey of the Souls, is another one, because I go back, and a lot of these shows, you know, been studying this for a long, long, long time. Interesting yesterday's show. It's interesting. I didn't do the statute that's in Oklahoma City, folks. It's not me. But it's amazing how powerful imagery is. Very powerful. It's quite interesting. We're going to get into something today that will be kind of, I guess, the conclusion of what my thesis is that this, what we call reality, what you and I think, is all wrong. It's been altered, manipulated, and we've drank the Kool-Aid thinking that it was actually the water. Hello, Consciously Aware, and Sarah, good to see you. Hello, Kent. So real quick, tomorrow I got uh, Nancy Allison coming on, and we're gonna have fun with this. Talk about food. And tonight on the Artist First, the Steiger Perspective on artistfirst.com, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain. I'm going to be talking about the police state in America. It's here, folks. It's here. Um, so check it out, please. Yeah, I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's a deep one, folks. It's deep. So yesterday's show, it's interesting when I see the comments, and I got a lot of emails, still getting emails, and these are the things that will invoke cognitive dissonance because it's so shocking to your outer consciousness. Your subconscious knows this stuff. I'm convinced of it. But by the way, the shirt. Here's a thought. Maybe we're all here to get our lost strand of DNA. And when we collect it, we get the hell out, Bye, just a thought. So the more one studies history, the more history we uncover, the more the conundrum deepens, because there's clearly been an alteration of reality. And you think about something that has taken 1,000, 2,000 years to evolve into, even if it's false, is a powerful presence, to say the least. A lot of psychic kinetic energy in it, and it takes on its own life. You know, that's a colloquialism we hear all the time. It took a life of its own. Yeah, it does. We are amazing creatures. We are. And I think that's why so often the aliens, if you want to call it, other life, tries to, I think, capture, subdue, um, that type of energy, particularly collectively. And folks, all I've got to say, if any of these religions worked, we would see it by now. And the hardcore reality is we haven't. All we have seen is exactly what they're predicated upon: death and destruction. And I know that's sometimes a hard pill, but follow me on this. So, got a number of emails on this one, and it's always interesting. So I've taught extensively on Lilith. Still the only one that I know that's gone through the Liber Lilith. But I'm going to show you how history has been altered and how the monotheism has replaced what was actually, if it existed, was the belief system of our ancestors. And we're going to be talking about Asherah, Lilith. She was Yahweh's wife. Yes, Yahweh has a wife. Your God of the New Testament would cause father. Well, he's masquerading as Yahweh because, you know, most Judeo-Christians will go right back to the ancient Hebraic history to validate their belief in their deity. They don't want to hear this because this was taken out. Because you see, the divine feminine, again, as most of us know here, is the key problem to humanity. When the true feminine is replaced to its rightful place in our collective consciousness, I think things are going to check out for us. Here's a great one. So people go up to heaven, whether you're a Christian, Jewish, or Islamic. You're thinking you're going to go see some dude on some throne. Baby. You're going to meet them, the true goddess. And she can be a real bitch. I'll just tell you. The story goes back before there was ever a Bible, before there was ever a thing known as a Hebrew, before there was anything known to what we think today is reality. Asherah and Yahweh Inscriptions. We're going to visit God's wife, Asheron.com, here in a minute. Lilith is the mother creator. No male, no personification of a male ever created anything. It can't. If you don't have the feminine, and you got this thing out there, this dogma that says, well, they're one and the same. Really? So you're saying that the creator was what? Hermaphrodite? It had sex with itself? Well, next time I tell you to go F off, now you know where it originated from. That's what you're saying. And it's hard in today's world where the feminine has been completely removed from all theology, religion, politics. On rare occasions, you see it in politics. Lilith, Asherah, and Yahweh. There's your Father God of the New Testament. Yep. Hard to believe, but it's a fact. Now, as far as Lilith or Asherah is concerned, she goes back way back. Some equate Asherah, Lilith, with Lucifer. I think Lucifer is more the feminine than the masculine. And there is biblical, if you want to use the Bible for your reference, to back that up. Go to Proverbs 1, 2, and 3. What is wisdom referred to as? Wisdom is referred to the feminine. So if Lucifer is the bearer of wisdom, light, it could be easily equated with Lilith, Asherah. Only something that's more powerful than the male could ever find unionship. And isn't it interesting that in the story of the Ark of the Covenant, her image was in there? Oh, that's not the story you've heard, huh? Yeah, they sanitized it for good reason. Rome had to. Rome is not about the feminine, although in its origins it was. But a new alien race invaded and started this thing that we call today. We're going to study that it goes way back. Conduit is in the description, as you can see. So Amranau says, say to my Lord, you are in peace. I bless you by Yahweh of Teman and by the Asherah. May he bless you and keep you and be with my Lord. That's the unionship. To Yahweh of the Teman and to Asherah. And by the way, these are Sumerian terms. All what he requires of a man to act with compassion, and Yahweh will give him according to his heart. And the fragments, as they are seen, and these, the ones I showed you, they're broken. We know that Yahweh and Asherah were married, equals. That carries way back. And you can do your own research. So we have from the tablets, the Sumerian tablets, the great lady, it's the official consort of the head of the pantheon, El, Anu, the great goddess, the Holy One, the mother of minor gods, the 70 sons of Asheroth, mother, wet nurse of king. We learned a lot of this from the Liber Lilith. And here's the actual inscription translation of the tablets. And it gets interesting as we go forward. Here she is, and as you can see, the serpent. There's a lot of symbology in this one, as it is with this one. This is Yahweh and Asherah. Now, this is really interesting because if you look at them, they're represented by lions, lionesses, with wings. And it's real interesting because you can almost see as though they're trapping the serpent that forms the double helix. Interesting interpretation. This is more of the modern Egyptian. We discussed this, Isis. Again, the serpent, the wings, the crown of glory. It is the feminine. I don't believe that this universe is masculine in any way. Now, people will say, well, they coexist. I don't think that's so correct. There has been, because, I'm going to tell you how that logic is illogical. is the fact that the divine feminine has been removed from the construct of what we call modern reality, modern culture. Oh, there's pockets of it. We talk about it, but for the mainstream, doesn't exist. And all the forms of God, Baal, Yahweh El, Megiddo, they all take a subservient place to the Asheroth. The Asheroth was a sex symbol. Menethus carved an Ashtaroth idol and put it into the temple. The Lord had said to David and his son Solomon about the temple, I will be worshiped forever in this temple and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen from all the tribes of Israel. Now, there's very interesting thing behind this. So many of the great artifacts that we see in the world, ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, etc., is heavily dosed with sex symbols, phallic symbols. But I often found it really interesting that if this is the creator of all things, why would it become so finite and to say that it would be worshiped in a temple? And in one particular place of all the, you see, and it's even more because here's the reality of it. The Old Testament God, you could say he was racist. And racist, literally, by that definition, he said that the Hebrews were his chosen race above all other races. I didn't say it, it did. When you begin, and I have taken a lot of heat on this one, comparing the two, Yahweh and Baal, as one and the same. There are those stories that we know from the Gilgamesh is they were brothers. That was very prevalent in Canaan. The Hittites, the Meatites, and the rest of them, there was a mixture of Baal and Yahweh, El. This slide here says the shocking discoveries continue to be made that Yahweh is a false god. Side note for Anonymous. Even if you try to make Yahweh into EU, you still have a pagan god with the Asheroth wife. All you are doing is changing the pronunciation from Yahweh to Liu, and it gets you nowhere. What you are doing is adding another layer of perversion on top of Yahweh. You know, you have to deal with this because it has a whole impact of the very core of many people's consciousness. One of the facts that cannot be refuted is that Yahweh is a God who has a consort, a wife. You can Google it yourself. I found this one. This is Isis, Ishroth, you could say, but she is the tree of life. This is Egyptian, obviously, and you can see there is a lot going on here, but the one thing that's absent from here is the masculine. Look at the creatures. Beware of ancient gods. If you study this, the evidence is everywhere. In this depiction, it's Lilith trying to rescue her creations from Yahweh. She was not successful. Whole different interpretation on the garden. And why we know that there is credibility to this, because folks, this predates the Bible by thousands of years. Thousands. As much as the Jewish race would like to think that they have an accurate count on time, they don't. Gobekli Tepe is exactly a good example. Hancock's book. It's fantastic on the background of that. These figurines represent something that is older than Judeo-Christianity, Islam, may even be Hindu. I don't know enough of the Chinese culture to quote on that, but I have a sense the Chinese culture is much more ancient than any of us believe. And this has been found in numerous archaeological discoveries. Asheroth is the consort of Yahweh or El. These are the things that people don't like to deal with. And again, it's been sanitized. Now, if you start studying, you're going to get a particular bias in your view, and you have to be careful of that, because what they'll tell you is, nope, that's not of the Hebrew origin. That's of those bastards, you know, those reprobates, those Canaanites. But yet the Canaanites were before the Hebrews. All roads lead back to Sumer. And isn't this interesting today? You know, as we look at the Phoenician and the Greek goddess of fertilities, Asheroth from the one from the Hebrew, Ishtar is the Babylon, Estri is the Anglo-Saxon fertility goddess. So we go from Astarte, Astaroth, Ishtar, Estri to Easter. And I discovered this over a decade ago, is why I quit participating in that pagan ritual. Easter is not what people think they're doing. And you know, and I tell these people all the time, before I left Christianity, I was telling people, and they said, oh, no. It's how we do it from the heart that counts. I said, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can be in a slaughterhouse and be drinking tea and think that this is just an odd decor. You're still in a slaughterhouse. And Esther is the sex goddess, the fertility goddess. I don't know. And it's everywhere, folks. This is not just make-believe. This is the earliest depiction of Yahweh. They call the Elohim, Jehovah. Interesting, huh? And again, from the fragments. So what am I saying? Well, I'm just saying that, you know, it's not what we think it is. We're going to be moving on because we got a lot more to cover, but this will be, you can reference it, you know, there's almost 1,400 videos in the archives. But there's a lot of new people. Do your own research. It shows you who is writing the story that really is the true magician here. Because who's writing the story will begin to get 1, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000 to believe that it was actually happened. And it's messed the whole world up. I'm telling you, it has. Without this nonsense, I think we would have advanced. Oh, folks, I'm convinced that had not this poison been injected 2,000 years ago, that mankind would have already moved on to the next level of being. 2,000 years, you can do a lot. But all we have to show for 2,000 years is blood, pain, misery, death. Nothing's changed. And nothing ever will change until we start beginning to understand that until humanity, corrects the mistakes, we only have this to look forward to. And as much as we seek enlightenment, and our ancestors sought enlightenment, they knew that there was a different way. We may sometime in the future visit the God spell, but if you go back and look at that video, I documented, folks. You see, you can't grow a banana from a tomato plant. You can't. And what is dominating the consciousness of man today in our religion, our politics, our culture is death, blood. The modern day religions, philosophies, for the most part, have been built on the blood of us. And no one wants to take accountability for this fact. And I sit here where I'm at now, and I just questioned, so you're telling me that 1 + 1 = 3. How can that be? If we didn't have it, where one race was against another race, but we were unified in the spiritual ascension of ourselves as a species, in 2,000 years, I believe if it had not been with this poison, and that's what it did, it injected a poison into our consciousness, we'd already be beyond this planet. This place would probably be a utopia, an Elysium. I think we would have risen above the greed. We'd have risen above the emotion. You know, the way I kind of look at it, you can't have a God unless you have emotion. It always confused me. It says that God inhabits the praise of his people. Why? Again, that's one of those things I ask myself. And this is just part of that reality. There is a great book out there. First of all, let me show you something that, if you want. This is the Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets of the Feminine. And it is really the Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. This is a good book to have. It shows you they had to take it out. Monotheism, the patriarchal system we have today, is exactly the antithesis of what was really here. And I think it's very fortunate. Maybe it is, in fact, that Lilith or Asherah, or whoever she is, Isis, Hathor, whatever, maybe as a mother, she is having compassion, but she's been dealt a terrible, terrible harm. I wanted to read this real quick from the Holographic Universe. Dr. Ken Dachwald wrote, if we were to look closely at an individual human being, we would immediately notice that it is a unique hologram unto itself, self-contained, self-generating, and self-knowledgeable. Wow. Self-contained. Isn't it marvelous, these things? I mean, when I get in the moments of getting into a meditative state of mind, quieting my mind, I marvel that I have the ability to think outside, but yet I'm fully aware that I'm encased inside. And what's even interesting is that within me, I have cells right now that are independently creating new life within me. You do too. And the self-knowledge, intuition, instinct, gut feeling. I don't know how I know it. I just know it. Download. Yet he continues, yet if we were to remove this being from its planetary context, we would quickly realize that the human form is not unlike a mandala or symbolic poem, for within its form and flows lives comprehensive information about various physical, social, psychological, and evolutionary contexts within which it was created. Still blows me away is the fact that we can comprehend that we were even created. It's interesting. No. I know a lot of you have your own views. I read them and I respect them. Some I like to engage in, but most of them, it's fine. Now, I want to, by the way, I did do the experiment today and sent out. Does anyone want to, did you feel it? Did you sense it? If you were participating, don't be guessing. But if you were, I sent it out at the same time. I do it every day. I'm going to do it every day at 10:30. Anyone want to guess what symbol it was? Well, hello, Zupat. How are you doing? It is a good group. It's taken us a while to get together, but it is a fabulous group of free thinkers. A lot of travelers here. Let's see. Wasn't the star? No. Yellow triangle. A tree. Actually, it was the red cross. So we'll try this again. So I had read an email and I haven't responded back yet. Who got that? Posey Blue? Yeah, all right. I want to talk about karma. Do you believe in karma? Do you think karma is what the universe is really all about? I mean, here's how I look at this. If karma exists, then there's something wrong here. You see, I have this question. All right, there, Hadley got it. Way to go, girl. I'm going to have to get some kind of little bonus thing. Here's why I don't believe in karma. Cause and effect, yes. Karma, no. Because if karma exists, then it would naturally imply that it had to start somewhere. And if you're saying it existed for all time, then you're talking the Big Bang. And then that is no longer the fact that you're saying that this whole universe is predicated. I don't see it in the universe. I don't. I see it limited to a man's thinking, woman's thinking, but perverted. And here's why. I study the scriptures. I mean, I was one of those cats. I mean, listen, and it said that Christ created all things, that without him, nothing was created that was made and that exist. There was no parentheses, no asterisks there saying that, well, except for, no, it said the Christ created everything. In the Old Testament, the Jewish God says the same thing. All things. So my basic problem here is that I have this make-believe deity who does not want to accept responsibility for its own actions. Nothing else is accountable but it. But it's bitching because the law of cause and effect is biting its in the ass. Because if it created all things, then it created evil. You can't say that evil created itself. No, because then what you're saying is that evil is greater than the construct of the singularity of God. The only way it could have been done, it had to start either with source, the all-thinking one, whoever you want to give it title to. So until it accepts responsibility, and this gets weird, because then that means it's in a state of denial. And that's not in Egypt. That its state of consciousness, as Lilith said, is in a constant state of denial. Because it can only stop from where it originated from. Now, the rest of us, because of cause and effect, are affected by it. Well, what goes around comes around, baby. You reap what you sow. You know, that's how we say it. Why? Because it's ingrained in us. But the problem is the buck doesn't stop with us. We're just merely causality of something that was already put into effect. That's why I like hermetics. You know, what are the 7 principles? Well, the first one is that the universe is mental. I can dig that one. Yeah, I do. The other one is cause and effect. I mean, there is no good and there is no evil. You're just talking about 2 things on the same parallel. You have to understand the spoon never bends. Until we get beyond that, then we're going to have this predatory system. You look at what the prison system in the United States is. It doesn't correct the problem. Oh, they're there to punish you. So think about this. Then we live in the reality that the only way you learn is through pain. That's a screwed up point of view, a screwed up reality. Because that's what it implies. There's certainly no love there. Well, why, Wayne? They're criminals. Yeah, Do you know that virtually all of us are breaking laws? There are so many laws that they got library full of laws. And then you see the politicians who don't obey the laws. Gee. So karma. Now, are there family curses? It's an interesting question. Do you believe a curse? Because this God of this world cursed. Now, I don't see how something who's perfect and pure can curse. That means you were imperfect to begin with. To speak a curse means that you are cursed yourself. Like produces after itself. So how can you be both blessing and cursing if you're an omnipotent, omnipotent deity? Curses? So can a curse be spoken upon a soul? It's not a family name unless it's the name, but it seems to be something that's almost hereditary. They're the Kennedys, one of the modern families that were said to be cursed because of Joseph Kennedy. You can go back and read other family bloodlines that something happened, and it is as though something put a curse. Now, in the book of Proverbs, it says that you can be cursed to 10 generations. Wow. In fact, if you study a lot of the cultures of 1000 BC, 2000 BCE, it's very evident that curses were in fact real and were evident. Many times it was the priestess that could invoke a curse. A priest can invoke a curse. Heavy stuff. So if a curse can be, yeah, it is, Regina. I see that as well. I'm seeing they're messing with us, man. But we move on through. So it's something that, do you believe that your family could, let's talk about this. Has your family always been in poverty? Has your family seemed to have reoccurring diseases that show up in every succeeding generation? Has your family history been one of mediocrity? You never really achieved much. Has your family history been that where you almost think that you make it and then something comes along and takes it all away? Is that a curse? It's a question. Why is it that so many struggle financially? Why do so many struggle just to make the needs? Why is it that your family bloodline seemed to attract other things that when it came into the family, it was not good? I mean, sometimes we want to be, cavalier and give, an answer to it. But I think if you think about it, and so if you're struggling for this, then I believe that there's a way to reverse all that. It also makes you think what's behind it. Imagine something of a negative energy that would transmute from one generation to the next. That's weird. I mean, it gives you a whole different definition of how many different life forms are on this planet. Because there seems to be, and in those of you who study magic, a true witch, a true wizard never, never, ever, ever curses. Never puts a curse on anything. Because once you do it, Luke, you're on the dark side. It's true. We can remove curses, and I'm going to put together a program that'll help on this. I believe that the karmatic curse, because that's what karma is. I mean, how are you supposed to learn? You see, I had this conversation with myself this morning. I'll set the scene. So you pass over, right? And the normal thing is that the devil is always going to mock you, right? That's your accuser. Oh, that's the Satan. But anyway, as I have asked you, so let's say this creature mocks you. Number one, who the hell is it? If it's a human being, kiss my white ass. If you're an alien, go coitus yourself. So you're mocking me for what? For being imperfect? Hey, man, you're so late. The train has already left the station and returned, and you're still standing there. So what are you saying? That I am not perfect? Never was meant to be perfect. If I was perfect, then I wouldn't be imperfect. If I was looking for an imperfect experience, why would I go into a perfect reality? And who the hell are you to be questioning me? Let's talk about your sorry ass life. So this is what your reality is, that you have to do this over and over and over again. Man, you got screwed. I'm just saying. I mean, if this is the reality of the afterlife, I mean, I often think about, there's a term, afterlife. Well, as Trina and I were talking, and I did a video called The Rite of the Birth Passage. This is not life. This is an illusion of what life is. Life, in its definition, is perpetual. So if we're only here for less than 100 years, let's not be like Stephen Hawking, who had infinite time to contemplate what comes next. And his calculations were, there's nothing. When you and I cease to exist, no memory, no nothing, no blackness, nothing. See, I think that that's what scares most people. That all your memories that you've paid dearly for, we all have, dearly we have paid. You know, when you think about the price that we have paid for our memories, wow, there's not enough gold or tea in China. It's us. I lived my life. I made mistakes, but I lived my life. I have the memories that teach me that. And what a shame. We're not like the flatworm. Why is it that the lesser life forms have this gift that we don't? That they pass on their experience and knowledge directly to their next generation, so the next generation doesn't have to learn all over again. The experiments have been done that if you chop up a flatworm and feed it to other, and the thing about it is apparently flatworms can actually work their way through a maze. And the experiment has been that when that worm learns how to navigate it, you chop it up, feed it to other flatworms out there. They now know how to navigate the maze. You know, folks, we meet here every day. We talk a lot of different subjects, but something's wrong. They stripped our third strand of DNA away from us. There should be 12, but you know, when you're having to recollect what was stolen from you, you know, sometimes it's a quite the quest. But why is that? A possible answer that I thought about, I've meditated on this, is that I'm a self-contained universe. I am the exact mirror of the original. And that when I move on, I will move on with the knowledge that I purposely made it to where I can't recall. Because if I could recall the full past, it would make the journey tedious. Wouldn't be any fun. Would be no challenge. There would be no quest, no purpose. And this gets back into karma. So why should I pay for a penalty? You know, you're going to, you reap what you sow. Well, if that's the case, then God has a whole lot to be accountable for. The gods. And who are the gods? Again, are they human? Answer me this. Are they human? Is God human? People won't answer that. Because, immediately when you do, you're faced with a challenge, a choice. If you say it is human, then why are you worshiping it? Why are you obeying it? Why is it better than you? If you say it's not, then it's alien. Then why are you worshiping something you don't even have any reference to? other than words. Oh, well, I had an experience. We all have experiences. That's what it's all about. It's the simple things in life, folks. You know, Pamela, I was just reading your comment. Isn't it sad that that apparently we were broken from the beginning? I mean, that's messed up, man. I mean, if we were broken from the beginning, I mean, how do you fix, stupid? How do you fix broken? If it was broken to begin with, what would it look like if you were to try to fix it? You don't have a model of what it's supposed to do. It's broken. It was created broken. That's what the terminology of religions today. You fail from grace. You have sin. I'm broken. You're already screwed right from the get-go. Now you have the possibility for salvation if you start following the bullshit. I mean, so what am I supposed to do? I ask people all the time. So what is this heaven supposed to do? What are you going to be doing up there? I mean, they really know how to plant out hell. And by the way, there's a great book we're going to get into. I'm going to show you how it's all a program. Hell doesn't exist. But the thing about with people who are looking for heaven, they don't have a clue what you do once you get through the gate. Now what? Are there going to be rules, regulations? Are there going to be penalties? Do you think you're going to be perfect now? Is this the idea that you suddenly have this transmutation that you went from imperfect to perfect, and what, all knowledge of the universe is going to be given to you? Really? Some people believe that. So what do you do with all knowledge of the universe now? What are you going to do with that? What's going to be your purpose for living there? One woman wrote me, she says, I'm looking forward to worshiping at the foot of the throne all eternity. Whoa. I mean, lady, come on. If you want to meditate, there's better ways to do it. But some people believe that. It's insane. I read the whole book, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. You know what I got out of it? That's a screwed up place, man. I don't want any part of it. That is some weird stuff. I'm talking, folks, and when you get finished reading about it, because Seth's in there, there's all sorts of things happening. And I go, we went from that to this. All right, folks. Okay, let's see. Just reading some of the comments. I appreciate those who are here. I mean, folks, I love hearing from you. I'm telling you, I kind of like, the journey of the souls. If you've never read this, it's a great, great book because we are a tribe. In fact, I think many of us here have known each other before. And I'm convinced that we go back to our tribes. And each progression on each different planet, the universe is vast. It's not just this blue marble here. There's many of them. And I think that as we meet with our soul tribes and we heal, because each time we go through one of these incarnations, we do take injury. Our souls are injured. Our spirits are depleted. And we have to get back to refresh ourselves. That's what I believe. And we'll sit around, pass the pipe around, and we'll tell tales, we'll sing songs, and we will live the experience of each one of our tribe mates. And as we speak, everyone lives the experience. That's what I think. At least it's far better than some of the stuff that I've read. What, John? What'd you say? No, I always overfilled mine. You got more. You got 12 cents for a dime bag. But anyway, I mean, folks, come on. I mean, yeah, we deal with a lot of the heavy stuff. I mean, this whole thing about Asheroth and Yahweh, it's quite interesting because it was a belief system. And they didn't write with words, they wrote with symbols, pictures. And makes you kind of wonder what kind of world was that. I swear it must have been, Lord of the Ring and the hobbits, the ghouls and the fairies and the elves and etc. Folks, I appreciate you. And I just think that it's far more greater than what we have any idea about. And I think a lot of times when we're going to get over, like Trina was saying, I think many of us are healers. We have to experience a lot of times in order to heal a spirit, is to understand and have empathy with that spirit. And I think that many of us, when we finish this mission, we're going to, have to help some of our soulmates. I think there are rescue missions that within soul tribes that they send out those to rescue some of our soul members who are missing. I really do believe this. It's a vast world. Hey, Joyce, it's like this Swami I told one time, and he was talking in circles, and I just told him, I said, dude, that's literally what I told him. I said, dude, Hindu yogi, I was saying, dude, man, learn to speak plainly. Anyway, all right. Well, thank you, David. Well, thank all of you. Zenru, thank you. That's very kind of you. That's like a sweet medicine to me, the words that you write. That is very, very, thank you. Positive. There we go. All right. So we'll see you tomorrow with Miss Nancy. Going to talk about food. We got to live. And she always has a great ideas, and like with David, with the DAP 2030. I mean, folks, I went into the grocery store yesterday and holy crap, the prices, yikes. I mean, ay. And so anyway, I appreciate all you folks. Y'all are the best. Many of you, I think, we are soul tribe mates. I don't think it's members. I think it's mates. I really do. I think there's a greater concept. And it's a question I was asking the anyone that was out there, and actually, you put your thoughts out there at something like a highway. So do spirits have sex? I mean, that's a question I'm serious about. Do spirits have sex? I think they do. I don't know. Well, thank you, Lucky Stone. Make sure you guys go over there and visit his channel. He has some great walks. I've watched that pathway of yours there, Lucky, go from wintertime into the spring. Carolyn says yes. Yeah, I think so. I really do. They seem to be really interested in our sex, which tells me, I think that, well, Lilith taught us that they do. Remember, Samuel and Lilith, they laid together, the two dragons. Yeah. All right, I love it. All right, well, Nancy, you're welcome. This bus is it's a magic bus. It's definitely you get on, you're going to have a good time. That's for sure. All right, folks. Well, Spirit Girl, let me know what's the question? Is that yay or nay? I think it's yay. I really do. And after all, sex is not just physical. It's more mental. At least that's my conclusion. That's what I got the answer when I was out there. I put it out there, and exactly what I heard back was, well, describe the sexual experience. Without the physical part of it, yeah, but it's all mental. Why is it that women scream, oh God, oh God, oh God, in the middle of an orgasm? Guys don't, not all the time, but women do. Y'all have to be talking to somebody. I don't know who, but anyway. Yeah. All right, folks. And it is mental. It is. It really is. So it tells me that I think that's true. I really do. I don't know what we produce. I don't know. There's a whole story right there. All right. We'll see y'all. Tune in tonight. I think you're going to like it. And I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.